Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberkaş. Turkey says it has hit dozens of PKK and YPG terrorist targets in northern Iraq and Syria, including what Turkish intelligence says was a ringleader operating in the Metina district in Iraq's north. The strikes come after 9 Turkish soldiers were killed in attacks by the PKK over the weekend. That brought the total number of Turkish soldiers killed by the terror group to 21 in less than a month. Turkey's defense minister says several dozen terrorists were eliminated, along with hideouts, bunkers, and oil facilities. The country's intelligence service added that a YPG safe haven was hit inside a large compound where a French cement company once operated in Syria's north. Their strikes come as part of Operation Claw Lock, launched in April 2022 to target the PKK in northern Iraq near the Turkish border. The PKK, which is responsible for the deaths of more than 40,000 people, is listed as a terrorist organization by Türkiye, the US, and EU. But Washington is also among the top supporters of its Syrian branch, the YPG. And to further discuss Turkey's response to the latest PKK and YPG attacks, joining me now from Istanbul is Tarık Oğuzlu. He is a professor at Aydın University. And from Ankara, Necdet Özçelik, he's a lecturer at Cappadocia University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. I mean, is the terror group changing its tactics? Because they didn't have this habit of targeting Turkish security forces during winter time, especially under these harsh weather conditions. So if it is the case, where did they get the financial, logistical, and intelligence support here?
I think the main question in this particular context is not the way how PKK has been organizing such kind of tactics. The key question is when and why the PKK leaders have decided to strike Turkish military forces at this particular moment in time. So we have to take into consideration that some structural changes have been taken in the Middle Eastern region and also in global politics. And we know that Turkey has been somehow trying to improve its relations with the central Iraqi administration, in particular in the context of this development corridor. And we also know that Turkey, in addition to many other countries in the Middle East, have been opposing the ongoing Israeli military incursions in Gaza region. So Turkey has been very much criticizing Israel and also the Western international community in a general sense. So this leads me to conclude that some particular circles which are quite unhappy with the position of Turkish government in recent months might have decided somehow to encourage or to push the PKK to organize such kind of an attack against Turkey in such a way to give a message to Turkey that we still have full control of PKK. So if we are not in good terms with you, we can somehow use PKK as a proxy force.
We were going to look at the international political fallout of this attack, but it still doesn't change the fact that this terror organization has been beefed up in a way. So the PKK Syrian offshoot, by the way, YPG, has been behind numerous attacks against Türkiye. And over the weekend, one of its safe havens in northern Syria was targeted. Back in 2021, TRT World released a documentary about the very site that was hit by Türkiye. Here's a couple of sound bites detailing the French connection to that site and the YPG. Let's have a listen, then we'll continue to talk.
Ah mais indiscutablement, je vous l'ai dit, indiscutablement, les Européens, enfin les Américains et les Français en particulier, ont soutenu dans la guerre en Syrie des groupes qui étaient des groupes qui encourageaient le terrorisme en Europe.
Tout ça a des conséquences. L'argent, les armements des YPG qu'on a donnés aux YPG ont servi en Turquie pour faire des attentats contre les forces de sécurité turques.
So, Necdet, how extensive has Western support been to the YPG, and what sort of message did it send to the terror group, the PKK, when it comes to operating places in northern Syria?
Yes, the PKK has been playing a very useful as a role of the useful instrument for the intervening international actors in the region. So in this sense, any military, financial, political support, especially from the Western countries, are always welcomed by the pro-PKK circles in northern Syria and in northern Iraq at the same time. In this sense, we have been observing that the United States, the British government, and at the same time some French private and the official institutions have been backing the PKK's Syrian offshoot of PYD militarily, financially, and also politically for many years. The PKK's substructures, or the PYD substructures and the infrastructures in northern Syria, has been designed with the engineering support of the United States, French, and the British governments and their military forces. And they have helped them to construct some defensive positions, underground positions, just like the bunkers, the concrete reinforced bunkers in Turkish projected areas of operation in Afrin area, in northeastern Syrian countryside as well.
Yes.
So they just wanted to stop the potential Turkish incursions by these military and the materialistic supports.
Yes. So, Tarık, in your earlier comments, you've briefly mentioned that these latest attacks are somewhat connected with other developments within Turkiye's region. Meanwhile, Iran, which was hit by twin bombings 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, in the Kerman province, has fired ballistic missiles at what it claims was an Israeli spy headquarters in the autonomous region of northern Iraq. So is this the latest example of Israel's war on Gaza spreading?
We might interpret this latest PKK attack against Turkey and Turkey's response to that, the attack against the Iranian establishment and Iranian response to PKK presence, PKK presence in northern Iraq. In the context of this emerging geopolitical tension in the Middle East, it wouldn't be an overestimation to say that all these issues are somehow interrelated with each other, because we know that Israeli government led by Netanyahu and the United States government under President Biden are not that much happy to see that Turkey and Iran seem to be the only two countries in the region which have fiercely opposed this Israeli policies in the Gaza region. And they are the ones who have the potential to put a block to this ongoing crisis in the region. So Iran and Iranis are not happy with the Israeli involvement in Kurdish politics in northern Iraq. Turkey is not happy with the Israeli involvement in Kurdish politics in northern Iraq. So these two countries have come to the conclusion that it is Israeli government that seems to be very much behind this PKK presence in northern Iraq. So all issues are very much interrelated to each other. We have to look to the issue from a larger perspective.
So, Necdet, also there have been some reports by U.S. media that 1,500 troops from the New Jersey Army National Guard are being deployed to Syria and Iraq to fight Daesh, a claim that was swiftly denied by Iraqi military officials. So why do you think such news have been circulating? How tense has the situation become in these two countries?
Yes, the United States has invested in the PKK and PYD for many years in regard with their Syrian policy. So they have nothing but to let the PKK, PYD survive in northern Syria because they did not have any other alternative relations to fight against the ISIL or to curb the influence of Iranian militia forces along Syrian and Iraqi border. In the latest days, we started to observe that an increasing pro-Iranian groups attacks against the U.S. military bases in Deir Zor area, in Abu Kamal area, and also in the western part of Iraqi territory. The United States military is just trying to reflect and project some deterrence capability against the pro-Iranian groups. So So that's why they have decided to deploy some additional military forces in Syria.
So, Tarek, could further security threats spur Ankara and Damascus to revisit their relations? I mean, if they establish contact, how would that change their regional balances moving forward?
I think, and looking to the problem from the perspective of government in Damascus, looking to the problem from Ankara's perspective, I think there are too many things in common between these two countries. None of them is happy with the PKK YPG presence in northern Syria. None of them is happy with the strong American commitment to YPG forces in northern Syria. So I think in the best possible opportunity, I think these two countries could somehow intensify their cooperation and dialogue in such a way to find a long-term solution to the presence of YPG in northern Syria. Because if these trends on the ground continue as they are as of today, this might result in a kind of dismemberment of Syrian government. And Americans are very much behind this support towards PKK presence in northern Syria. They are trying to justify it in the context of the war against ISIS. But we know that ISIS is not that much powerful as it used to be 5 or 6 years ago. And we also very much argue that if there is a security threat emanating from ISIS, it is Turkey. They could somehow cooperate with United States, not YPG,
Yes.
because Turkey is a member of NATO. So we expect that Americans somehow cooperate with Turkey rather than YPG. This is a kind of anomaly, and you can never justify it on the ground that both of these two countries are members of the most powerful security organization in global politics, which is NATO.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.